The average lifespan in the U.S. is 77.7 years. That's around 28,000 days. And each of us has experiences that force us to stop and think about how we spend those days. I'd like to share one such experience with you. My husband and I spent Christmas 2004 visiting his family in his home city of Madras, India, a city on the southeastern coast of India along the Bay of Bengal. Early in the morning on the day after Christmas, we were awakened by the sound of the security guard pounding on the apartment door and shouting, "Nilanadakum!" My mother-in-law translated, "Earthquake, get out!" We all rushed downstairs, dazed and still in our pajamas. When we got outside, we stood with the rest of the neighbors and wondered what was going on. Madras usually didn't get earthquakes. After just standing there for a while, it seemed the danger had passed. So not sure what else to do, we decided to go back upstairs. We were just easing back into our morning routine when a young boy came rushing into the apartment, screaming for his mother, who was helping out in the kitchen. "Amma, kada pongi varada!" She dropped what she was doing and she ran out the door with him. The translation, "The sea is coming." Just then, the neighbors shouted that they felt more tremors. So for the second time that day, we rushed down the stairs. Once we got outside, we were shocked to see that the main road was flooded with dirty seawater and the level was rising. People came running in the streets, carrying their children, telling wild stories of huge waves that had swept away their huts. Standing there and watching that water rise was like being in one of those bad disaster movies. Everything was in slow motion. But there was no Hollywood star rushing in at the last minute to save everyone. I don't remember how much time passed, but eventually, just as the water level got to the crest of our driveway, it stopped rising and began to subside. It seemed like forever, and we didn't know what else to do. So once again, we decided to go back upstairs and wondered what might be coming next after the earthquake and the flood. It was only once the power came back on that we learned from the TV that this had been a tsunami, triggered by a massive earthquake off the coast of Indonesia. The rest of the week was a blur of bad news and fear and uncertainty. Nearby, Marina Beach, where my husband had planned to go jogging, was littered with overturned cars, and the fishermen and their huts had been swept out to sea. Hundreds died in the city that day, more than 8,000 in the state, and hundreds of thousands in the region. We were lucky, blessed, call it what you will, to have survived unscathed when so many thousands did not. 10 days later, we returned to the U.S., but the images from that tsunami were stamped in my brain. It forced me to face the reality that life can be short, much shorter than 28,000 days. Now, that depressed me at first, but eventually it compelled me to think about how I was spending my days. At the time, I had a corporate job, which was okay, but I had felt a nagging dissatisfaction for some time, so I began to ask myself, where can my dreams take me? I knew I could be doing more to tap into my strengths and live my life with more purpose. I realized I had a choice in how I spent my days. I could put in my time and settle for less, or I could dare to do more. So I began to explore other options. 18 months later, I quit my job and I started my own business as a professional speaker. Through my speaking and training, I help people break out of their comfort zones and become more successful than they thought possible. I help them improve their public speaking skills so they can share their knowledge and their stories. And I think it's a good use of my time. So what about you? Who are you? What are your dreams? Are there things you want to do in life that you haven't made time for yet? What are you waiting for? Sometimes we don't change how we spend our days because we're stuck in our comfort zone. Now, it's okay to be comfortable, but sometimes fear can trap us in our comfort zone and prevent us from trying new things and growing. So instead of remaining trapped, we have to try to break through that comfort zone. Now, breaking through is not easy. You've got to overcome your fear, your ego, denial, and stubbornness. And once you break through, you have to keep breaking through and continue to challenge yourself to spend your days wisely. But when you do break through, it feels like you're falling. But really, you're flying, soaring without limits, able to see beyond the horizon to your dreams. And it feels good and worthwhile. The American poet Carl Sandburg wrote, "Time is the coin of your life. Only you can determine how it will be spent." And so I ask you, how will you spend the remainder of your 28,000 days? Thank you.